This is a little piece of private ground I cut recently. Beautiful wood, not real big. At least this section I'm in right now was not big, but beautiful form, tall. It's running about 2.5 logs, and yeah, it was kind of a tricky little unit, and wanted to take the opportunity to talk about some of the things I did to mitigate those obstacles that I was running into. For the most part, it was really nice flat ground. There were a few draws that I had to deal with at the back end, but there were some rocks sticking up, and being a private piece, there you never can tell when there's a random rock pushed up from construction or a chunk of concrete lying in the brush. So you can see I spend quite a lot of time weed whacking the brush to give myself good visibility. I think that's really important, good visibility. You can see where your stump is, you can cut a low stump, and save your teeth, not run into anything unforeseen. So on this piece, I'm cutting my way down along a property line. You can see the fence, which represents the property line. I've got a arbitrary boundary that the landowner put in off to my right now. He left a crescent-shaped piece of fir behind his house. So as I cut my way down, I'd call it back cutting my way down. I'm cutting in front of myself and laying the bundles behind me. You can see I'm orienting them to the right, quartering them to the right. And by keeping the tops off the bundle that's already on the ground, when the shovel operator works his way out, the trees that the bundles he runs into will be clear. And since he's going to have to pull them back to get the butts beyond this crescent shape that the landowner left behind his house, that'll make it easier for him if he doesn't have to fight tops on top of his bundle. I did walk this piece before I got to cutting on it, since it's so close to all these obstacles. Took a quick peek at it. The wood, like I said, is quite tall, and there is quite a lot of standing dead wood in it, and it's really important to know where that is before you cut it, because the top can come out. So you can kind of see me pause occasionally, pause the machine. I can look out up to through my left-hand window to see the tops, and see what's live and what's dead. If a stick has heavy limb hangs, or whatnot. I think that's a really important thing when you're cutting in a tricky spot. I think also when you're cutting in a piece like this, is really not about production. It's about getting the wood on the ground without any problems, no blunders, no crushed houses, no one getting killed. It's not about production. It's kind of one stick at a time, no matter how small, and getting through it without any problems. So another thing I do when I'm in a situation like this that helps me, so hopefully it might help somebody else who is wondering what I'm doing, I definitely try to cut the wood that is in the clear first, and then work my way back into other sticks, if that makes sense. So when I cut a tree, I can swing it without anything beyond it, anything beside it, to hang it up or hang the top up or break the top out of another tree. And that's just a technique that works really well for me. You know, again, you're just trying to get every piece on the ground without any problems. It allows me kind of an out too, in case something goes wrong. I blow a big hose or hit a rock or something goes wrong. I can, if there are no trees there, I'll probably be able to fight the tree to the ground in the clear, away from buildings or fences or obstacles, whatever I'm trying to avoid. So that's something I do pretty much all the time, really. But in particular, in a situation like this where I'm up against stuff. So this little sequence right here is a good example of that, I think. I'm going to cut the tree furthest away on the right. That'll put that in the clear. And then cut my way back to the left. Again, cutting the outside trees that are in the clear, getting them on the ground first. So this next tree is the one that I've been thinking about. And again, it's not really a big tree, but it's good size. And it's tall, and growing open like this after they built the house, it's heavily limb loaded towards the house. And I think when you got a tree like this, you got to figure out what you're going to do, and then you just got to haul off and cut it. You know, what's going to be is going to be. I feel like if you've done your homework, it's going to work out all right. So now that I've finished off that back corner, I'm working my way back along the face, and you can kind of see got bundles out there, and I'm trying to pull my lead back into the correct orientation. But I'm working towards the landing now, so you'll see I kind of favor the tops again to the right, and that as I work my way in, again, that'll, for the shovel operator, he'll be working his way out, and that means that every bundle he comes to will be on top for him. And again, he'll have to pull him back a little bit to get the butts clear. But if he's careful, it'll come out. There wasn't really any other way to do it. So I do everything I can to make it right for the shovel operator so it'll log out good. Because that's really all about recovery. This is nice wood, nice tall, beautiful little fir, and we want every bit of it we can get. You bust it all up, either in the cutting or in the logging, and it's no good to anybody. As it turns out, there was a problem with one of the shovel operators. So the processor operator ended up logging this little chunk here, the front end of it, by himself. He just swung it in with the processor and shot it to the deck. And so it worked out really well. He got good production and did it on his own. Had a good time doing it. So it worked out well. So in this sequence here, I've moved back in up against the other side of the house from where we started. More outbuildings. It's the other side of that little crescent-shaped piece. There's a leave area behind his house. The landowner did want some whatever hardwood we could save left, so that was another kind of thing to work around. One of the things I wanted to talk about here, just kind of point out, was kind of being conscious of chip discharge when you're cutting, up against something like buildings or whatnot. Oftentimes, moving the machine slightly forward, so when you take the tree off the stump, you change the direction of your discharge. It can really make a big difference. You can kind of see that on this next stick here. Moving forward a little bit, I'm going to send my chips out to the right rather than up against the building and the lawn stuff, and bicycles and whatnot. The chips can really do some damage. course, these next two trees, there was no two ways about it in terms of chip discharge, but it's just the way it was. I think I send one of those little lawn chairs for quite a ride on this one. Generally, I'd move my truck if I was cutting this close, but I was up against so much stuff on this unit, there really wasn't any place to put it. I figured I'd let it go, but it's really poor form to hit your own truck. Generally, I'd move it. But yeah, I guess I'm going to tidy this bundle up a little bit, and we'll have her. So once again, thanks to my wife for all the work she does putting these videos together. And thanks to you for watching. We appreciate it.